all those moments will be lost in time.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. It is me, your disappointment dealer. How's it going? If there's one thing that really bothers me aside from obviously rapists and murderers and fraudulent people and a whole long list of things that I've already covered on this channel, it is people who take advantage of their job in a fucked up way in order to take advantage of people. For example, doctors who take advantage of their patients. Enter this motherfucker. Hypnotherapist charged with having sex with patient. I have to say, I don't often comment on looks because it doesn't matter, but his photo did alarm me. He makes me feel very uncomfortable in this mugshot, so I wouldn't want this being my hypnotherapist. A Florida hypnotherapist. How many comments are gonna be about Florida man now? A Florida hypnotherapist was arrested for having sex with a client whom he kissed abruptly during a session. Robert Andrew Nichols, 63, whose website bills him as a psychologist and paranormal phenomena investigator, was arrested Wednesday on a charge of being a psychotherapist engaging in sex with a client, which is illegal in the Sunshine State. A woman who said she met Nichols during an adult education course at Santa Fe College in Gainesville told police in June 2018 that he started asking intimate questions about her sex life after starting therapy sessions with him, according to an affidavit. So, hypnotherapy, as the name indicates, is the use of hypnosis as a therapeutic technique. The reason I want to talk about this for a brief second is about what can we really consent to under hypnosis? So on this website called HypnoTC, the hypnotherapy training company, it says, what does informed consent mean? Fundamentally, it relates to the giving of permission, consent, when in possession of sufficient details to decide whether to participate or not. You will likely be accustomed to giving informed consent in many aspects of your daily life. When you go to the hairdressers or barbers and have a consultation first, that discussion provides you, hopefully, with enough information so you can agree to the chosen style or process. When you go to the dentist, doctor, or surgeon and they purpose an intervention of some sort, they will generally explain the advantages and disadvantages. This enables you to agree to the proposed work, knowing the pros and cons and having come to a decision based upon the information provided. And then it says, within hypnotherapy, there are three types of consent that can arise: that of implied consent, explicit consent, and informed consent. We can explore these separately. Implied consent is not explicitly stated by the client, rather their actions or lack of action indicates their acceptance. For example, shaking hands implies consent to touch. Explicit consent is explicit spoken or written permission by the client. For example, asking a client if they are willing to go into hypnosis and they say yes. Informed consent takes explicit consent one stage further. It is when the client gives explicit consent and they are in receipt of sufficient information to make an educated choice. So, from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong below, but there's implied consent with a hypnotherapist the same way that there's with a hairdresser, because when you go to the hairdresser, you discuss what you want and then you let them do, hopefully, what you want. However, and when you go to the therapist, you kind of consent to share certain aspects of your life, whatever you're in there for, you know? However, even if you give that kind of consent in advance of we can talk about whatever when I'm under hypnosis, I'm pretty sure no one in advance assumes that the therapist is going to try and kiss them or be sexual with them in any kind of way, right? So the consent would not be there. If I were going to a hypnotherapist and discussing my depression issues, the last thing I would expect is for them to try and do something to me while I was hypnotized. So I feel like there's no consent no matter what. And also, I feel like I'd feel weird about someone giving consent when they're hypnotized. So like if he asked, oh, can I kiss you when someone's hypnotized? I don't know if I'd take that as consent either, because hypnosis by definition is you in a different headspace. So I don't know if I would consider that consent either, to be honest. 2 months later, Nichols kissed the woman on the lips out of the blue during a session. Nichols then asked the woman to go to his home where they had sex. He stopped charging her for services at that point, the affidavit states. Nichols and the woman continued to have sex and practice ritual magic, activities he claimed would benefit her mental health, but the relationship eventually fizzled out and the woman asked Nichols for a refund. So, for some really lucky reason, my microphone literally just stopped working in the middle of this video, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to continue with a voiceover, but I liked my look, so the video of me talking but not talking is staying. Anyway, the thing that I'm confused about is that he supposedly asked the woman to go back to his place. The issue I have with that is, Was she hypnotized? The title and so far the article implies as much, but it's not specifically, or should I say explicitly said. So I'm curious to understand if she actually did consent to go to his place. And when I say consent, I'm using my definition that does not include consenting while hypnotized. By the way, let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Do you think you can consent when hypnotized? Also, I do have to say, I think it's sketchy that he stopped charging her, because the only reason you'd stop charging someone is A, if you're getting something out of it, which he was, because they were having sex, or B, if you know that you're doing something wrong. I don't know if he wanted to do that to avoid a trail. If she ever said anything, there wouldn't be any trail proving that she was still doing these therapies with him. I'm not sure, but it definitely reads as very sketchy. All over it's sketchy, but especially the choice to stop charging. It doesn't say anything about feelings, which would be the third reason why I'd say, like, oh, maybe that's why he's not charging her, but it doesn't seem like feelings to me. This seems just like slimy behavior, honestly. So the article also mentioned that they practiced ritual magic, and of course they left it as vague as possible, another method of fear-mongering, because now in my head I'm picturing all this like dark and creepy shit because this guy sounds like a fucking weirdo. But again, I know there's going to be people in the comments saying not all magic is bad. I know it's not bad. Potentially his magic was good. I'm just saying in this particular context, I can't imagine it being all that great because it doesn't seem like he had her best interest at heart, but we don't know. But I do have to say, I think it's funny that they leave it so vague when this is probably one of the most interesting parts of this case, because I'm curious to know what rituals were they doing? Why? For what purpose? I have questions. And it says a detective in Gainesville interviewed Nichols in March, but he refused to say whether the relationship was sexual, according to police. A message seeking comment from Nichols was not immediately returned. An out-of-date website from 2015 identified him as Dr. Andrew Nichols and listed him as a member of the American Psychological Association, but spokesman for the organization confirmed to the Post that he was not a current member. Okay, so let's deal with the red flags one by one. First of all, him not admitting that they had a sexual relationship is sketchy as shit. Of course, you don't want to get caught, but when there's a second party involved who already said that you did have one, it's stupid to lie because, first of all, they already know you're lying, and second of all, you seem overall less trustworthy and less redeemable, honestly. So I don't know what was up with him with that. Anyway, also the fact that he didn't immediately return a comment and then his choice was to lie. Bro, if you had the time to think, why the fuck would you come to that conclusion? Not very smart for a doctor, this one. Anyway, then, so I looked for the state of Florida, and you do have to be part of the American Psychological Association as a current member. Obviously, that's part of the state licensure requirements. So this guy was really just breaking every single law I can think of in terms of being a doctor. So then, to further dig his grave, we have this. At no time was he a professor who taught college courses. The statement said, Santa Fe College does not tolerate harassment, abuse, or violation of professional ethics of any kind. As soon as the college learned of Nichols' arrest, steps were taken to ensure he was not currently teaching nor known to be on our campus. This part genuinely makes me laugh. Nichols has also appeared on several television and radio programs to speak on paranormal topics, including Unsolved Mysteries and CBS's 48 Hours, according to his website. So I don't know if he actually showed up on TV because it doesn't sound like saying anything of truthful is this guy's strong suit. But I have to say, I also am starting to doubt his paranormal crap because honestly, if you're lying about teaching, you're lying about being licensed, you're lying about essentially everything, why would I believe that you have any knowledge of the paranormal? The only thing this guy has a license in is bullshit because so far we have seen nothing of him being honest or forthcoming. So I don't know what's up with that. My final thoughts are that this guy is a fraud in every way possible. Of course, being a fraud doesn't mean that you are an abuser, a harasser, or whatever you want to call him. However, the fact that he's lied about all these things doesn't make me feel positively towards him, and it does make me doubt whether he actually is just overall a criminal from, sexual abuse to this fraudulent shit. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about him, and I still stand by the fact that I don't think you can consent when you're hypnotized, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons. Sorry for this inconvenience, and let's get right into the fan art.